Is it not normal? Am I the only one that's walking around with a daily thought of, well, that's my option? Hey guys, how you doing today? I've had a day full of tears, and for no real reason. It's just been one of those days where you just cry. And it's been a while since I've had one of those. But anyways, I have a question. Do you have thoughts of taking your own life? And if you do, how often? I have had thoughts of taking my own life since I was about 8 or 9 years old. Pretty much on a daily basis. I mean, it's maybe not every day, every single day, but most days. But it's not like I'm making a plan. It's just kind of a passing thought. I've had a handful of suicide attempts. It's been probably since I was in my mid to late 20s since my last attempt. So many ums when I get real personal. I'm sorry. Recently, I'm not quite sure how recently, but it's been recent enough. It was brought to my attention that that's not normal at all to have those thoughts ever. And I truly, because I've had them since I was a kid, I thought everybody had that thought floating around in their head at least a few times in their life. How could they not? And the person that told me this wasn't normal, they've had many struggles in their life, and they have their own set of demons. So that made it even more surprising to me. It wasn't someone that hasn't been through a lot of really terrible life experiences. If it had been somebody like that, maybe I wouldn't be so surprised. But knowing how they grew up and that thought never crossed their mind, that's just bizarre to me. So I am genuinely curious. Is it truly not normal amongst the mentally unstable crowd, if you will? Is it not normal? Am I the only one that's walking around with a daily thought of, well, that's my option? I mean, I do have that as an option. It should never be an option, but that's how it's always been for me. But I'm curious to know, has it not been a constant for you? Have you only, if you've had the thought at all, has it only been when you were actually making a plan and were truly a danger to yourself? And I'm going to make it a point right here to say that if you're having those thoughts now, please call somebody and get help. Because your life matters, your life is important. Please. I will leave the prevention hotline down in the description below, and I'll probably just have it up in the video. Reach out if you're in that place, please. Please reach out to somebody, a friend or a family member or the hotline. 'Cause, yeah, please. Please, please, please. But I do want to say that I have found a way I've found a way in later years when I'm having that feeling like I'm gonna have to really go do something about it. Um, while I was doing my art book or journal, the beginning of the end, I had to take a little break from painting Secrets of the Moon because that landscape was killing me. It it took me I think that painting took me over a month to do. I love drawing people and faces. I'm not big on drawing landscapes, backgrounds. If you've paid attention to my art, I'm sure you've noticed this, and I do need to work on that. But I was in a really, 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 really dark place. Although I was healing while I was painting all this, it kind of hurt during the process. It made things fresh, and it's kind of weird because, like, taking my dad's death, for instance, that day replayed in my head every single day since that day until after I completed the book. It was on, like, constant, instant replay, and I could tell you verbatim every word said by every single person that was a part of that experience. Now, since I haven't thought about it since finishing that book or that journal, I could tell you the gist of what was said and what went down, but I haven't thought about it in a decade now. It's not been on repeat, so I don't think about it. But even though back then it was constantly on replay, for some reason drawing all this just made it even more fresh, those emotions. So until I felt this project was completed, I felt like I was drowning in it. I really did. I will say it's not quite that bad anymore when I'm drawing something. I think it was because this was so many years of pent up hurt, pent up emotion that I fully didn't understand at the time. But that had me, because all those feelings were so fresh again, I was in a really dark place. And of course, I had other stuff going on that I was not dealing with well. So I had the thoughts of taking my own life, and my thought always goes to a gun. But you'll see. I'm gonna pull this up on the screen now. I titled this Blow. It was done in August of 2010. This is 100% from my mind. There's obviously no reference here, so that's why it looks very fuzzy and kind of abstract, because I don't see things clearly in my head. But I love this. I drew myself in a purple shirt. You'll notice that as a theme anytime I'm drawing someone, even if it doesn't look like me, it's supposed to represent me, and I'll be in a purple shirt. I never wear purple shirts, but I love purple, so For whatever reason, I always put myself in a purple shirt. You see my brown hair, and then I made the blood a scarlet color. And then it is what it is. I don't know. I love it. My ex-husband didn't know what the heck it was. But my son, who was 13 at the time, thought it was me putting a sword through my head. And although it's not a sword, it's a gun, he got the point. But yeah, so it got the point across for some people. I don't know why my ex-husband couldn't see what it was. But if you've been watching things, you know that I write little paragraphs to go along with it. With this one, I just literally cried my heart out and wrote down every thought in my head as it came. There was no... I wasn't trying to write words with this. This is just me. I mean, it's me sobbing. And then what I loved even more, I would, in the book, you turn the page, and on the flip side, it says, "Where are we going, Daddy?" You know, to kind of give the feel that I went through with it, and Daddy was taking me home. But after doing this, I felt so much better. Those thoughts were gone. I don't know why seeing it on canvas was so satisfying, and it just took care of the desire. So again, in 2014, I was back in a really, really bad place for different reasons. And again, you know, I go to a gun. So I titled this one Escape the Heartache. And it also kind of references something from 2006. That was the last, my last attempt. Its main focus is about what I was feeling at the time. And again, this doesn't have a reference. Well, the only reference image is of the gun in the hand holding the gun. And that is actually, I believe it was Lindsay Lohan. Because that's the picture I could find with the gun being held in the position I wanted it. But everything else is from my mind, so that's why it looks very cartoonish. Way back in the day, when I would draw, everything would look like a cartoon or a caricature, even though I wanted it to look realistic. And then I discovered the grid technique, and that's how I get realistic drawings or paintings. I never embraced the cartoon or caricature thing, and maybe I should, because to this day, I mean, if I draw without a grid or with some sort of guidelines, sometimes it doesn't have to, if I just have a few guidelines, it looks pretty realistic, but without just total freehand, it's going to look like a cartoon. So anything from my mind looks cartoonish. But again, this took care of what I was feeling. It took care of that desire. And for the most part, I haven't been back in that place. I was a little bit in 2019 going through a divorce. Even though I was happy I was the one that wanted the divorce. It's just stressful and just worried about his reaction. It's scary stuff. And still living with that person and knowing they're not going somewhere. They're just going to be here and you're going to be divorced. So with that, I don't have something finished. I started on it, and I still want to complete it because I think I'm going to love what it's going to turn out to be. But I took a lyric from a hymn song and turned it into something very dark because I find that song to be very hopeful and optimistic. But yeah, I twist it, and I'll show you the very beginnings of it, the very, very, very beginnings of it. I was going for a colored pencil thing, but I don't know that I'm still feeling that. But this is just one part, one piece to it. So I kind of paused on it because I wasn't sure where to go with it. I was kind of stuck. And about a week ago or so, something clicked in my head. So I'm going to have to get back in there and work on it some more, because I think it'll be really neat when it's finished. But yeah, so again, do you go through this at all? Do you ever have these thoughts? Please comment down below. I mean, is it a daily thought? Is it only when you are truly making a plan to do something you shouldn't? Or would you never consider that? I'm really curious to know. And if you're someone that goes through this, what have you done to, other than reaching out to people? And again, please always reach out to someone, get help if you're having those thoughts. But other than doing that, have you found any other way of kind of letting that dark desire go? If you do, leave it in the comments, and I think that would be great for anybody that's looking for help. And I hope that this helps, maybe gave you all an idea to, you don't have to paint it. You can draw it, I mean, just with a pencil and paper, or if you want to, take paints and do finger painting, I think that would be really satisfying to get your fingers in there and feel it. I don't know, hopefully this helps somebody out there, because I know it's done a great deal for me. It's been going on 15 years since my last attempt, and the 2 or 3 times I've really thought about it since I went and used art to help me get out of it. And I hope that it can do the same for you guys, anybody that's needing help. So again, if it's not on the video, the prevention hotline will be in the description down below. Reach out to somebody if you fear you're a danger to yourself, please. I hope this helped you guys. If it did, please give me a like, maybe comment, and I shall see you all in the next video. I love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.